Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, this is Kenyan Revolutionary for another session, for another day. Please, karibu, karibu. Whew, coffee this morning. Coffee. Let's start this with coffee. Tuanze. Karibuni. Please take your time. Come in. Ingieni. There's so much going on as we count down to NaneNane March on the 8th of August 2024. Can Kenya pull a Bangladesh on Thursday? This coming Thursday. It's not the other Thursday. This coming Thursday. Today is the 5th, so we have 3 days to go before the big day. Hiyo ndio mada ya leo. Countdown to NaneNane March. Can Kenya pull a Bangladesh on Thursday, this coming Thursday? Because it's going down. It's happening. It's about to go down. Will we pull it off? For those who live under a rock, in Bangladesh today, the dictator there, the lady, I think her name was her something. I forgot her freaking name. Not Hanifa, not our Hanifa, and her something, okay? She left. She was dethroned today. Bangladesh have successfully, the GNZs in Bangladesh have successfully removed the dictator who was there for the past 15 years. And they've managed to remove her. What an accomplishment. Can Kenyans replicate the same thing? Let's see if they can. Karibuni, as we get started. Let's see. But before we get that, we shall get to that. We shall get to all of that, okay? That will be all covered. But we have to start with the first order of business, which is what? Please like the video. Like the video. If this is your first time in this channel, please like the video and subscribe. Like and subscribe as we get started with this. Now, the funny thing, before I get to the Bangladesh thing, let me just mention something about Bangladesh. The funny thing about the Bangladesh movement is that they were doing the same thing that Ruto was doing. The government before they left. They were limiting the internet users. In fact, they shut down the internet. They were limiting dissenting voices. If there's channels like this who are speaking against the government, they will limit its influence where it can be showed. And it has been done here, among other channels that don't support the president or say something that's not, aligns with the regime's propaganda. They limit your influence, whether it's TikTok or X or YouTube lives, they try to do that. But anyway, the revolution will go on regardless. So that is something that the Bangladeshi government and Ruto's government have been doing. They're trying. Mwangi Karibu, Mwangi is reminding me the Shekinah of Bangladesh has fled. Ruto, you are next. Woo-wee, Ruto. Ruto, the writing is on the wall. Karibu Mwangi. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. That's the comment that you read my mind. The writing is on the wall for William Samoei Ruto. He needs to see that this is going to happen. It is going to happen. It will happen. So kama ni yeye, that's why you saw today, Aliende, he went and assented the second appropriation bill, whatever the case is. Akasema ame/2 billion from the budget, whatever. Just a bunch of nonsense. Or is it abracadabra that he's trying to do the last minute to try to change people's mind? He went ahead and, called up Gachagua. Gachagua went to that interview yesterday trying to divide people into, tribal stuff. Because there's mchezo yote na Gachagua na Ruto is not going to work. Anajaribu ku divide people. Sijui sisi watu wa Mount Kenya. No. It's the whole Ruto regime. Ruto, Gachagua, kila mtu katika hiyo CS wote waende nyumbani. Hakuna kucheza hapa sijui nini. But anyway, there was a lot of reaction to what Mr. what's his name? Joho's vetting, and one other than none other than Meguna had something to say about Joho. I'm about to play that. I'll just start with that as I wait for everyone to settle down and join in the fun, because we are about to talk about what's going on. So let me just start with this video of Joho, of Meguna yesterday on X-Space talking about Joho, and I'm giving everyone time to come in and settle down. Najua some of you are still at work, wengine mmefika nyumbani, wengine bado hamjapata notification. Please take your time, and when you get in, go ahead and like and subscribe the video. Do the same if you're going to watch this nini. Aya, tuanze. Wacha nianze na to yesterday's response by Meguna on Hassan Joho. It was hilarious, actually. Let's
his face is a known bad drug dealer that should never occupy any public office and should be in jail for life anywhere in the world. They don't ask these questions. Joho, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, is a complete failure in all spheres of life. Not just academically, intellectually, ethically, strategically, policy-wise. Everything about him is a failure. And on top of it, he's a criminal because he's an organized criminal selling drugs. We cannot have a country with no values, where everything goes, and people demand of you to be able to tell them, oh, Joe has not been convicted. How do you expect a criminal to be convicted in Kenya? Nobody gets convicted. The head of public prosecutions is in conflict with EACC because he wants, or he purportedly backdated a letter saying that he terminated a case against Oparanya so that he can clear the way for Oparanya to be a cabinet secretary. When everyone, even a gardener working for the government, must have EACC clearance certificate. But Oparanya apparently is not supposed to have one. So please, we are talking of a much more serious problem than this thing about grades. And yes, Marge is right, everybody else, Kingsman, I was not talking about every Kenyan and saying they cannot get to a point where they overcome this issue about grades. I said inability, incapacity to understand and to conceptualize public policy. That's not about grades. But quite a bit of a lengthy celebration of Thomas Joseph Odhiambo Mboya, the first Kenya's minister, cabinet secretary for economic planning in this country of ours called Kenya. Now, for those who don't know, Tom Mboya's highest formal level of education was not even Form 4. He dropped out because of lack of fees in Form 2. That is Form 2 in secondary school, Form 2. Tom Mboya, by all estimates, and this is everyone who is objective, who is neutral, who is unbalanced, who is unbiased, and who is intellectually knowledgeable about Kenya and the world, was one of the most brilliant Kenyans we've ever had. His grasp of public policy, his intellectual brilliance, his ability to deliver, both in writing and orally, his ability to conceptualize public policy and implement it, his ability to gather resources and use it ethically for public good was exceptional. I did that. I mean, I did that to Tom Mboya, who did not even have D-.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia. I am a Gen Z. I just watched this vetting process and I have actually been shocked that one of the nominees had a D minus. Now, I'm not saying that we should just consider education as a measure of your ability, but we cannot just underestimate its importance, right? An educated mind is better equipped to tackle complex problems, think critically, and lead effectively. Now, if we put someone who has a D minus as a cabinet secretary, I think we're just settling for mediocrity at this point. And also no, I mean, there are so many people who are more educated than this man and more equipped. I'm sorry that even I, with my bare minimum education, I feel like I can do better than this guy. So it should be that we're settling for excellence.
Anyway, so we get the point. I was just brushing up, following up on what people were saying about Joho's nomination yesterday. Not nomination, but the vetting. I was having a discussion with somebody last evening, and they were telling me that the reason why Joho is going to be made the minister for the CS for mining and blue economy, whatever the case is. Blue economy, for those of you who don't know, basically just refers to any, when it comes to fishery, the sea, something to do with the waters of our lands. Any proceeds that we can get from the business we conduct from the ocean and the lakes and so forth. And someone brought this to my attention. They mentioned, and it was also on Twitter, they mentioned that in 2020, Uhuru Kenyatta blew up one of the boats, not a ship, but it was a huge boat, basically, not a ship, but a boat that was carrying some paraphernalia, unga, if you know what I mean, that belonged to Hassan Joho. So when that ship was blown up and it was burnt up, that's when the circus began between Uhuru Kenyatta and Hassan Joho, when they started going back and forth, because the proceeds, well, the unga that was on that ship, or on that boat, that rather, was worth some billions, okay? And so Hassan Joho incurred some losses due to Uhuru's actions there. So the reason, as that person was telling me, was that they put Joho to be the CS of the blue economy. That way, any ship, any boats, anything that is brought in to Kenya's ports by sea or lake, he has the final say on it. So imagine if he's involved in whatever business that is rumored to be involved in. It will be like the case we saw in Nairobi, where there's some matatus that are operating illegally. They're not part of any SACCO. They're not part of anything. But, they're doing whatever they want. So what I'm saying is this. With Hassan Joho being given that docket for mining and blue economy in Kenya, they're probably going to be, if he succeeds and becomes the CS and gets confirmed, they're probably going to be some ships or boats or canoes that will be having containers which will not be checked, because wataambiwa, if the officials try to check them, they'll be told, hii ni ya serikali, ni ya CS Flani, orders from above. CS Joho has given orders that this boat or this canoe or this ship should not be checked and searched. Iingie tu hivyo. That's why Joho was offered that docket to be the CS of Blue Economy. Karibu sana Gypsy Corner, I see you there. I see you Macy or Massey, I don't know how to say it. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Get in. I know ninio yetu inafaa. Like I said, I shall get into this Bangladesh thing. I want to talk about it as it relates to Kenya, because Kenya has been doing the same thing, maybe not with the same intensity, but perhaps on the 8th, we shall meet the same, we shall have the same fate as Bangladeshi people, okay? But what I was trying to say is this. What happened in Bangladesh, the number one thing that happened that the government did, they were trying to limit any dissenting voices. Kama uko kwa Twitter, like our YouTube, if you realize a lot of platforms that are speaking against the regime, they are limiting their influence. Hawataki watu wapate neno to spread the word that ama jamaa are doing wrong. They don't want to be exposed. In fact, at some point, the Bangladesh government, they shut down the internet completely. They completely shut it down. Kwa sababu they were hoping, they didn't want the Gen Zs of that country, the people of that country, to communicate. And I suspect that is what is going to happen come on Thursday. So let's get in. Hebu tuanze. So I want to start with what's happening in Bangladesh. You know, when I was reading the Oroda, the lineup, the schedule for the Gen Zs of what is to be done when they get to CBD, it's similar to what was in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, people showed up downtown and they had their camps. I mean, they camped downtown. They had food, their cell phones, and all that. They coordinated all that good stuff. And what did they do? They said they're going to camp at the CBD until the president, or their prime minister in this case, was to resign. And they did so. So the first thing that prime minister did was she started shooting the protesters. That's the first thing that she started, because she wanted to intimidate those Gen Zs. And there were a lot of bodies, people who died, because he ordered his police force to shoot down the protesters who were camping outside her palace, prime ministerial palace, okay? Or presidential palace, if you want to call it that way. So she went ahead and, the police went there and shot these protesters indiscriminately, okay? Killed a lot of young folks, all right? But these young folks would not relent, okay? They overpowered the police. So what she did was call on the military, okay? But when the military came by, the military refused to shoot down the Bangladeshi people, because the military, usually these guys are trained to fight against other, military forces, okay? Not civilians. So when they got there, they were like, right. So Gypsy is telling me the Bangladesh army has been told by the youths that some of the youths have to be elected in the new formed government, otherwise there will be no peace. Yes, I'll get to that. Good point. Yes. So the prime minister there, after realizing that his police force were not enough, did not have enough bullets to kill everybody, so he called on to the military, the army, or whatever the case is. The army went to the streets, and instead of dealing with these people, they realized that, these people are one of us. And the army said, we cannot shoot these people. These are part of our brothers and sisters. So we shall actually let them protest as they will, because that is the will of the people. So there's no way they can shoot. If anything, the army, something similar that happened to Kenya, in Kenya. Remember that pipeline road incidents between where there was a standoff between the army and the police. The army told the police officers, stop shooting at the protesters. Okay, stop it. You cannot. These are innocent protesters. These are peaceful protesters. You cannot shoot them. Okay, so as it went on, and these folks, young folks, kept on. They stood firm. They camped. They say they're not going back home until the prime minister was to resign. And they did so. They stood there firm. And finally, after I don't know how many days, the army went to the prime minister. At first, the prime minister flew away and flew back in, tried to reclaim her power. But it reached a point where the army went, this morning, actually today, the army went to the prime minister and told the prime minister, hey, listen, Miss Prime Minister, we are giving you 45 minutes to resign because we cannot continue like this. The people have decided that you have to go and you have to go. Okay? So the army told the prime minister, turned against the prime minister, who ordered them to go to the streets to quell this uprising, this protest against her. They decided to join the protesters' side and said, listen, these are our brothers and sisters. We cannot shoot them down. This is a part of our people. These are our people. So they turned and told the NaneNane told the prime minister that you have 45 minutes. You have to leave the country. You are no longer, you have to resign. You are no longer the prime minister of Bangladesh. And that's when she went and got into a chopper and flew off to India somewhere. In fact, there's a picture of her arriving in India crying because she lost everything. And the people rejoiced and moved to the presidential palace, helping themselves in all kind of delicacies. But the point is, there was safety in numbers. The people were resilient. I say that most of the time. If you're going to go there in Nairobi CBD and State House and be resilient, stay there, camp, even if it's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Wacha wale watu wana biashara hapo, support the Gen Zs as they stay there. Okay? The police, even as in the case of Venezuela, you saw the police were joining the protesters. They were taking off their police uniforms and joining the protesters in protesting against the oppressive regime. And the army, like I said, would never turn on the people who they're supposed to protect against foreign enemies. So the army told the prime minister, please, it is you who is the problem. You need to leave. Okay? So we notice something. We see something which is the same thing that Ruto is doing. At this point of this revolution, it is a battle of wills. A battle of will. Who will step down first? Ruto is recalcitrant. Okay? He is malignant. Kichwa ngumu. He's a roughneck. Okay? He's stick-necked. Stick-necked. Ruto has key. He's a pharaoh. Firauni. He is still playing tough. He is ready to unleash his deadly police force. It is said he has rearranged his security apparatus. Remember, he appointed his ex-girlfriend or his side piece to be the head of the military. This is because he wants direct control over the military. That way, he can make direct orders. Okay? So this is what is happening. He's doing the same mistakes that the prime minister of Bangladesh did. Now the ex-prime minister now. And the first thing he will do tomorrow, on 8th, Thursday, he will first try by brutalizing the protesters. In fact, it has been happening. You had the reports yesterday that the Nairobi mortuary received 247 dead bodies of people who were missing. You understand? Like the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining now, like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because this is important. I want to discuss this because this is important. I want to help you in this. Mwananisikia? I want you to understand something. This is the stages of the protests. The protests of this Gen Z is about the battle of will. If you have the numbers and show up in front of State House or CBD or whatever the case you decide to meet up, it is Ruto will try to test your resolve. He will first ignore you. Then mkianza kwenda State House hivi, he will unleash his deadly police forces. In fact, it is said that he might work together with Raila Odinga to send Raila Odinga's goons to attack people. But if you show up in numbers, Ruto will not be able to succeed to intimidate anyone, because if you have 5 million show up at the State House, I don't know what kind of Kora you must be, but you cannot take on 5 million people. So these are the stages, the last kicks of a dying horse. Ruto will unleash the police Ninio with those deadly water cannons that are laced with deadly chemicals to spray the protesters. That is the likely scenario. He will then unleash people and uniformed police officers to gun down, try to abduct anyone who they feel is the ringleader. And then there'll be uniformed police officers who will be lobbing tear gas, using rubber bullets and even live bullets to shoot down protesters, to test your resolve, to see if you're going to back down. All this was tried and used by the Bangladeshi ex-prime minister who just was ousted earlier today. She tried all of this. Okay? She tried all of this. So this is what we should expect. I'll come to your comments in a minute. He will try to shoot down people, abduct people, and do all sorts of things to test your resolve. Wanataka kuangalia kama mtakimbia. And if you run, if you stop camping, if you say, oh, let's abandon this, let's go back home, Ruto will win. That is what he's banking on. Karibu sana Edith, Afro Love. I see you. I'll be in the comments in a minute. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Ruto, as we speak right now, is scared to death. And Angalia Bangladesh is saying, oh my goodness, Gen Z are going to be inspired by Wale Mad Bangladeshi. And they're going to try this thing on me. In fact, I don't know. Anyone who's on the ground right now, can you tell me, are there military vehicles, police officers heading to State House right now? Has this task started stopping people from going to Nairobi CBD already? Yes. Karibu sana Edith. So this is what is going to happen. We saw it. The Bangladesh people were doing the same thing the Kenyan Gen Zs were doing. And the Kenyan Gen Zs are planning to do the same thing. The question is, I don't know how many people are going to show up at this Nairobi CBD. We still don't know yet. We still don't know yet, because the number of people that are going to show up at the CBD are going to determine how successful this maandamano and the ousting of Ruto will be. But it's not only numbers, but you have to have a strong resolve. Mkiamua tutakaa hapo mpaka Ruto aondoke, no matter how many people he shoots, tries to abduct, or whatever, mukae hapo. That's what happened in Bangladesh. They used violence. Na akifanya mistake alete military will. I'll show you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just show you. Karibu sana. Let me read your comments as I start showing you stuff. And there's something we are going to explore also. The if, because there are some names that are emerging that might be behind the financing of these operations. And these are gentlemen and ladies who I don't know if they share the same vision, but we'll explore that. Let's get started. Here, I'll start with Gypsy Corner. She's saying Bangladesh army has been told by the youths that some of the youths have to be elected in the new formed government, otherwise there will be no peace. By the way, for those of you who have been ranting and waffling about, what happens when Ruto leaves? Will there be a lacuna in the constitution, in the law? Will there be a vacuum where we'll have no leader? The army, the military of the Bangladesh already said there shall be a transitional government as they work their way to the next election to pick new leaders. Isn't that the same thing we were saying? If the people decide to go to Nairobi CBD and take out Ruto, and Ruto leaves along with all of his cabinet, the parliament leaves with all their nonsense, working out with Tangola and Sholei and all these useless people in the parliament. Once the legislative body and the executive body leaves, and even if the Supreme Court leaves, are rendered useless, once that sovereign power comes back to the people, there shall be an interim government which can be coordinated by the military. And the military shall do so by listening to the voices of the very people who ousted Ruto and the legislative body and the judiciary. Just like Gypsy is telling me, the Bangladesh army has been told by the youths that some of the youths have to be elected in the new formed government, otherwise there will be no peace. So what I'm saying is this: after Ruto is gone and the parliament, the legislative body is rendered useless, which it has lost its legitimacy, same as the executive that is headed by Ruto, same of the judiciary because they cannot even take Oparanya to jail. Once all these three arms of government that has been delegated this power by the people has been rendered useless, then the people, through the army, can be the transitional, can help form this transitional government, which in turn shall prepare us to the next election. So there shall be no vacuum. The Bangladeshi already said that. The army came up and said there shall be a transitional government that shall lead to the next election so that we can choose our leaders by then. It can take 90 days or 2 days, 3 days, whatever the case days is. But there shall be a transitional government. So for those unicorn poops, dim-witted people, especially pro-government people, I'm sorry, I have to be biased, who are saying, what will happen if you take out Ruto? Who will lead? How are we going to survive? There'll be chaos, there'll be anarchy. Where's the anarchy in Bangladesh? There's no anarchy, there's order, even without the prime minister. So don't tell me about anarchy. Anyone who's telling you about anarchy is a Ruto apologist. East Indians are no joke. Wakiamua, they march on until they accomplish their mission. Yes. Kudos to them. Amen to the military. Gypsy saying, both police officers and youths died fighting for freedom 400, and like in Kenya, only Gen Z died, no cops. Yes. It will get ugly. Let me tell you something. That's the reality of a revolution. A revolution is not, the environment in a revolution is not the same as being in a wedding reception. It can be bloody, and it will most likely, probably, be bloody. The level of bloodiness, we don't know, because that's the unknown. It depends on how desperate Ruto wants to hold on or cling on power. And it also depends on how resilient these Gen Z are going to be. Because Ruto will try to intimidate the people by using water cannons, tear gas, abductions, shooting people, all of the above. He will try it because that's the same thing the Prime Minister of Bangladesh did. Bangladesh is the best. Masi say, kwani hawa polisi don't reason that their kids are proletarians too, just like the Gen Z who are fighting for justice and equality for all, baffles my mind. The police don't think about their kids. They work for the bourgeoisie. So they don't care about the proletariat. Kenya Army and police officers are Ruto's booty lickers. Sorry to say, I have liked the video and shared too. Thank you. Well, that is why Ruto put in that, what's her name? That ex-girlfriend of his, or his girlfriend actually, his side piece, to be the head of military. Because, and I'm sure he's working on putting his own most trusted commanders of military people to be the head. That way, if he sends them to a place, he wants to make sure that they will do whatever he wants. If it means shooting down innocent protesters, peaceful protesters, that's what he wants. That's the reason why he put the most trusted person, who is his side piece. That's the whole point. Even she said it. She admitted she has no history in the military. But she said, oh, I'm willing to learn. Why? Because Ruto will be directly. We had a guest here who told us that they're rearranging, moving people, the pieces, the police force and the army. Because Ruto wants to make sure that he has his most trusted men and women around him who will take orders without questioning. That is the whole point. Ruto is cocky. He has bought people like the force, cops, and goons like Raila. Well, we'll see. It will be the both people versus the will of the people. Let's see which is more stronger. Edith is saying nothing worse than irresponsible leader. He must resign. Absolutely, he must resign. Welcome to Doctor of Politics channel. Thank you for the compliment. I'm not a doctor. I had a D- just like Hassan Joho, remember? I didn't get a D-. I hope Niger success out Tinubu. Yes. Christine Karibu, 1234. Bill Curtis Karibu. Karibu, the people who are joining. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Like it so it can go to the algorithm. Nyote mnaangalia hapa, like your video. Tafadhalini, asante. We don't need Ruto. The quicker he goes, the better, because we don't have dead bodies being discovered everywhere. Because we won't have dead bodies discovered. Okay. Yes, we don't need it. So mnanisikia. That is what I'm saying. These are the last kicks of a dying horse. Ruto thinks that rearranging the forces, people, putting his most trusted men in different places will have him survive. It won't. Because once, I'm telling you, once 5 million people show up at your doorstep, no army in the world can even help you in that case. They'll have to stand down and bow to the will of the sovereign people. You can't shoot on the very people you're trying to govern. You understand? This is what's happening. So Ruto is the Lulu. Bangladesh has shown us the way forward. But I want to explore the what ifs. What ifs? Because it's one thing to say, oh, this is what we are going to do. Oh, this is what we do. We need resolve. We need 5 million people. We need to go down to CBD. We need to do this. But what ifs? That also has to be addressed. What ifs? Have we ever explored this what ifs? That's why I like the X spaces that people are talking. The only problem is I don't hear a lot of what ifs scenarios. What ifs? It's usually people expressing their displeasure, their frustration, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that with these X spaces. But we have to explore the what ifs. What ifs? And in order to explore these what ifs, you have to look at the root of this Gen Z movement. Analyze it. Who are these kids who are running around CBD saying Ruto must go? Who sent them? Who is providing them with all these materials, water, flags, pickets? Who are these Gen Zs? Who is behind them? Who is fueling this movement? That is also something we need to explore before we talk about what ifs. The reason why I'm using this what ifs is because the people that I saw were on the front line when this movement started are now claiming to be suicidal, are deactivating their social media platforms. Some of them are now selling cars full time. Some of them are accused of using the money that was given to them walichangiwa. So we have to explore the what ifs. We've seen what works. Bangladesh was a prime example, real-time example how you can have a revolution and peacefully remove the oppressive regime of the day. But we also have to have context. The Kenyan context. It is one thing to read about Bangladesh, not knowing the intricacies, the political dynamics within Bangladeshi society. Do they have a Raila Odinga in Bangladesh? Do they have people who can scuttle the movement? Do they have a Jimmy Wanjigi? Do they have a Boniface Mwangi? So we have to contextualize our struggle. As much as we'd like to copy and paste what happened in Bangladesh, we have to face the reality in Kenya, given where power lies within the influencers, the mitigating factors that might scuttle this movement, the what ifs. That is what I want to address in a minute. So before I do, please hit that subscribe button. Like the video, because I want you to learn something before, if you're planning to go to CBD and decide that you're ready to camp for however long it will take until Ruto goes. Before you do that, let's make sure we've checked all our boxes, including the what if factor. I hear you, Bill Curtis. Karibu. I hear you. Zakayo must go. Are we ready? Let's get started. We are going to get started. Are we ready? Okay, we shall get ready. Let's get started. I'll show you the same way Bangladeshi Gen Zs were getting shot down before they succeeded, the same way the Gen Zs in Kenya were abducted and were being shot down in Nairobi. I kid you not. I know you must be asking yourself, how? Here it is. Here is the report. I think some of you missed the report. Here it is. Dear Kenyans, City Mortuary received a staggering 247 bodies during the anti-finance bill protest. 247. These people massacred our children like cockroaches. Kajuang told us about the military.
Just about coming up with an action plan. What then do? You appoint Kipchumba Murkomen as a Minister for Youth Affairs. Isn't that an insult and a slap in the face of the youth? The next thing that national conversation was supposed to do is get the military off the street. What is the military doing in the street? We are going to tempt them. You have seen the public is now cheering them on, and they'll start feeling like heroes. The military establishment, if you look at it as a pyramid, at the bottom, it is full of Gen Zs. It is full of our brothers and sisters. They feel and see the suffering that people are seeing and feeling outside. If we keep these boys and girls in the street, they will take over. Now, the concerns of the youth have probably been captured in the Constitution, and it's just about coming up with an action plan. What then do? You appoint Kipchumba Murkomen as a Minister for Youth Affairs. Isn't that an insult and a slap in the face of the youth? The next thing that national conversation was supposed to do is get the military off the street. What is the military doing in the street? We are going to tempt them. You have seen the public is now cheering them on, and they'll start feeling like heroes. The military establishment, if you look at it as a pyramid, at the bottom, it is full of Gen Zs. It is full of our brothers and sisters. They feel and see the suffering that people are seeing and feeling outside. If we keep these boys and girls in the street, they will take over. Now, the concerns of the youth have probably been captured in the Constitution, and it's just about coming up with an action plan. What then do? You appoint Kipchumba Murkomen as a Minister for Youth Affairs.
Okay.
Isn't that?
So he mentions about the military. Okay? He mentioned about the military. These are the things that are building up. Before what? Before we get to August 8th. Now, I've mentioned to you, and let me remind you again, I'll re-say it again, I'll reiterate it again. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. What I'm saying is this: the common steps, the normal steps that we saw before this Prime Minister of Bangladesh left, the steps that he took was similar to the steps that Ruto took. Number one, he tried to intimidate the protesters. How did he intimidate the protesters? He shot, killed. Now you can see the Nairobi, whatever you reported, Nairobi City Mortuary has reported 247 bodies. That's a massacre. So Ruto shot 247 peaceful protesters in hopes of intimidating the protesters not to go on with the protests. 2, he's pretending to fix things quickly by firing the cabinet, bringing a new, equally incompetent, corrupt CS, not ministers. Firing the CSs, bringing the very faces that are also corrupt, bringing the opposition, incorporating Raila Odinga's and all his tribal chieftains in the hopes that that will quell or slow down the protest. So he has shot people, 247 bodies and counting, and also he has incorporated the corrupt opposition politicians. Number 3, he has tried to pretend that he's fixing the problems that we need. Oh, by sijui passing your budget, your appropriation bill, your appropriation bill ya ninio. Kucheza cheza ti, oh, we've slashed 2 billion in your 2 billion or whatever from our new budget. Number 4, he's pretending to try to reach out to the youth. Oh, nitakuja X-Space. Oh, sijui nitafanya nini. We shall have a broad base. And I'll come to you about that broad base. I will talk to you about that broad base. Because it might mean something else. Number 4, anajifanya broad base. So while he's trying to, and number 5, he's trying to divide people through tribal lines. Let me tell you something. Let me start with this. This whole shenanigans between Ruto and Gachagua is a ploy to divide people, divide the communities, tribal communities. They are all in it. Gachagua and Ruto, they're both fighting for their survival. So Gachagua is shamelessly positioning himself as a tribal chieftain, playing the victim. Oh, sijui Ruto ananinyanyasa. Oh, I'm now okay with with Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta. I'm friends with sijui nini. He's trying to alienate the Kikuyus from the so-called government. His aim is to affirm this notion that the Kikuyu oligarchs and their people are behind this Gen Z's movement. That is what he's trying to do by portraying himself as, oh, the guy who's fighting for people of Mount Kenya, the Kikuyus. It's a sham. It's a game that they're playing between the president and the Ninio. And now you see Ruto is bringing in Raila, and they're using their mouthpieces in Jacaranda trying to say that, oh, now we are the people, we are the Nilots, we are together. Sisi Manilots together. We are standing firm. And we have Western people. You see, I put Musalia there, Wetangula is there, so let's isolate the people of the mountain. Trying to use this tribal card to divide the people, because Gen Zs are coming with something powerful that they cannot handle, which is the unity in purpose, unity, umoja, patriotism, leaderless, tribeless, and what? Partyless. They're unified as Kenyans. So what the president is trying to do is bring the conman Raila Odinga and try to make it, oh, Wajaluo are now in government. Put Paranya there, oh, Waluo are in the parliament. Put Mbadi there in the treasury, oh, Wajaluo have the pass. Put Joho there, say, oh, wana cost wako na post wako kwa serikali. You see what I'm saying? Then play these games with Gachagua. Oh, Gachagua. These are the Mount Kenya people who are fueling this maandamano. Tusiwaogope, hawa wanataka kuangusha hii serikali, hawa watu wa Mount Kenya. Because they want to divide you along tribal lines, because they've seen that they are all going home. If Gen Zs succeed, Raila will be rendered useless. Ruto will be rendered useless. Gachagua will be rendered useless. Uhuru will be rendered useless. Kalonzo will be rendered useless. That is the point. So they have to play these tribal cards. Ndio maana you see Gachagua amped the ante today by going to that whatever channel, speaking in his mother tongue, talking about, sijui Nurdin Haji, they're coming for him, sijui there was assassination attempt on him, on his bodyguard or something like that. A bunch of nonsense to distract people from the movement, create this nonsense that now the Kalenjins are against the Kikuyu. No. We are not going to buy that. We are not boarding. Gachagua and Ruto, we are not boarding. You are both going home. Gachagua, Ruto, Raila, you are both going home. We are not boarding. Iyo ukabila yenu mutaenda nyumbani na ukabila hiyo mko nayo. Na Raila, na Uhuru, all of you. Hamwezi kupora mali na muue watu, Gen Z, vijana wetu 247, alafu mnakuja hapa mnataka kujifanya ati sijui nini. Hakuna kitu kama hicho. Those Gen Zs belong to Kenya. They were of different tribes. Sasa msikuja hapo mnatuambia ati sijui watu wetu kitu gani? Gachagua is part of Ruto's regime. There's no ukabila in this. You are both corrupt. Gachagua, Raila, Ruto, Uhuru. Nyote. Taka. We cannot play these games anymore. Try again. Listen to this young man as he explained something. Like the video. Like mara moja. Joey.
So, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, today had invited almost all popular vernacular stations in the mountain to talk to Adoito. I'm telling you people, I have talked to you. If we allow in our generation to go back to Adoito nonsense, my friend, will not come out of this forever. Our parents, our grandfathers have perished on that road. No one has come out of that for 60 years. And that's the young people. Now you allow ourselves to go Adoito nonsense, will never come out. The problems Akikuyu is facing in Mount Kenya is the same one being faced by Alu in Nyanza. The same one faced by a person in Sugoi village where Ruto comes from. And that is the only reason, by the way, let me tell you, President William Samoei Ruto has taken Baba to the government so that Baba can go to Nyanza and tell his people Adoito in his language so that he can rally them behind with tribal cards. My friend, if we go that road, we will never come out again. Our parents have perished on that road, and that's twinges are easy. The only time we are coming out of it with this Gen Z thing, a tribeless nation, my friend, in this era and age, we have ati tunachukiwa watu wa mlima tunachukiwa na mtu fulani. Hakuna mtu anatuchukia, my friend. Yeah? Si utoe mtu wa mlima umpeleke kwenye basi watu hawachukiwi. Uniambie, if they are not even facing worse problems than even us here in the mountain, my friend, our people, Adoito, our people are the leaders who will do the will of the people, who will lighten the yoke for the people. That will be our people going forward. Even you people from Kalenjin land, my friend, let me tell you, your people will be the people who will lighten the yoko, my friend, who will make the hospitals zikuwe na dawa, mashule zikuwe cheap, watoto wetu waende university, our youth wakuwe created jobs. But this nonsense of Adoito, my friend, we go back this time round. Hiyo kaburi tumefunga. We'll never come back. We'll never come back. So I beg you, people from Mount Kenya, don't arauga shawa with our people. Sijui tunaona. Hakuna mtu anatuonea. My friend, we are even better off. Waturukana, they are sleeping hungry. Other communities don't even have roads. My friend, we are better. Hakuna mtu anatuonea na hakuna mtu sijui anataka kutumaliza. My friend, these are the leaders wenye wanatumaliza na ukabila, my friend. We don't go that we go that road. We are done. We are done forever. After wewe ukiona tumeenda hiyo barabara, my friend, tafuta visa uame Kenya. We will be done for good.
You heard that. We cannot go back that route. Hatuwezi. We cannot let these people play. We cannot. Hii ni mchezo ambao ilisha kitambo bwana. Hatuwezi kurudi huko. Huko ni Misri. We cannot. Gachagua and Ruto are playing this game ndio to divide among party lines, among tribal lines. Ni kujifanya tu. Ni kujifanya, si kitu wengine. Kujifanya. Let me show you the dictator. This great dictator wa Bangladesh, where she is. Hapa ndio, acha nionyeshe Bangladesh how things are happening there. Mambo shwari. Let's see. This is the Bangladeshi dictator. There she has arrived in India. India. Dictator arrives exile in India crying. She cannot believe. They even went to the parliament. Kama vile Kenya walifanya. Hiyo ni Bangladesh. Bado. It's so similar to what. Look at the town here. Look at this. Oh my. You saw that. That is what's going on in Bangladesh. How did it happen? I'm telling you. They even went to wako hapo state house yao ya Bangladesh. Unaona hapo wanakula. Mnaona watu wameingia huko na sosi. Mnaona? Hey. Anyway, this is the first half. This is the military now speaking. They were saying how there will be an interim government.
Of the
Listen
army
to them.
chief of Bangladesh.
For those of you who are saying there'll be anarchy.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned. We are seeing live pictures now of the army chief of Bangladesh speaking. He has been saying just in the last few minutes that the interim government is set to run Bangladesh, that the army chief also is in talks to form that government, and he is asking the citizens of Bangladesh to keep trust in the army through this remarkable last few hours where we have seen protesters return to the streets of Bangladesh in their tens of thousands. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned. We are seeing live pictures now of the army chief of Bangladesh speaking. He has been saying just in the last few minutes that the interim government is set to run Bangladesh, that the army chief also is in talks to form that government, and he is asking the citizens of Bangladesh to keep trust.
So you see, there's no vacuum of power. Okay? The Constitution does not let that happen. Once the people have the sovereign authority, they can pick a transitional government, whether it's the army or in our case, maybe we can choose the Koome ashikilie for 90 days while we prepare for the next election. Or we can have ourselves pick our own transitional government that will lead us to the next election so that we can pick new leaders. So it can be done different ways. And you can see there's no anarchy. Those people are just protesting. Watu wa Chinjani, it was the police that were being ordered to kill the people. That is the difference. So any of these Ruto maniacs who come in and try to make you feel like, oh, sijui kutakuwa na anarchy, watu watauana, sijui nini. No. Hiyo ni wanakuuzia uoga. It can be done, as my friend Aladdin TV has said. It can be done. Now, it's been an hour. I will come with the part 2. Saa sita usiku. I will be back to give you the what ifs. We want to look at these Gen Zs as we have 3 days left. We want to look at Gen Zs. What can possibly go wrong? Kwa sababu the people who are financing these people, who are alleged to be financing these Gen Zs, are people who, their past is not all that straight. We shall explore that. So join me 5:30 Eastern time if you live somewhere around Eastern United States. Ama 12:30 midnight usiku ikiwa Kenya, or maybe 10:30 or 9:30 usiku if you are in UK or in Europe. Join me then for the second part of this, where I shall talk about what ifs, what can possibly go wrong. Okay? So before you leave, make sure umeweka your like button, subscribe, and put your notification. Ndio sasa nikiingia usiku leo, usiku Kenya, saa ya Kenya, utapata notification that imeingia, and I shall open the studio. Ndio we can exchange ideas. Okay? We shall talk about this in depth, so we can explore this Gen Z. Tuangalie ni namna gani, who are financing these people, and what's going on. Do they have the resilience like the Bangladeshi people to stay in front of State House until Ruto resigns? Gen Zs have given Ruto up to 3 p.m. Eastern African time for Ruto to resign on Thursday. NaneNane. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Put that notification on so nikikuja mujue nimekuja tuongee. Ama namna gani? The movement continues, like Messi M says. Messi M, I would like to thank you. Gypsy Corner, WS Banker, Bill Curtis, Bran Mulaku, who else? Everyone. Morris Otieno, even though you had your own view. Melchizedek Odhiambo, thank you so much. Everyone else. Edith or Edith. I don't know how you say it. That's how you say it. Afro Love, kama kawaida. Much love. Thank you so much for showing up. Mwangi, also, I would like to thank you. I'll be back saa sita usiku, saa sita na nusu usiku, Kenyan time. If you live in London, probably, or England, or Europe, it will be around maybe 10:30, ama 9:30 usiku. I'll be back. If you live in the US, it will be kind of like 5:30 Eastern time, and it will be like 2:30 or 3:30 Western Coast time, Pacific time. Tukutane hapa. I'll be back so we can explore what could possibly go wrong or what is fueling this movement that is destined for NaneNane 8th of August 2024. The deadline for Ruto is 3 p.m. August, East African time. Ruto, you have to resign or else we shall do it the Bangladesh way. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and put your notification on. I'll see you then in a few hours. Peace and blessings.